What would you do if the world demanded you surrender the one thing that held your past, your pain, and your purpose? For Elias, that thing was the house, a crumbling, ivy-choked relic of a life he'd fought to keep. It wasn't just wood and stone, it was his father's laughter, his mother's songs, and the echoes of a family that had long since scattered. But to the developers circling like vultures, it was just a plot of land, a dollar sign on a map. They came with their slick suits and smug smiles, offering him a fortune to sign it away. When he refused, they laughed, their voices dripping with condescension. They thought he was a stubborn old fool clinging to a worthless ruin. They had no idea what he was planning. Elias was 60, his face etched with lines that told stories of loss and defiance. His gray eyes held a fire that hadn't dimmed, even after decades of hardship. The house, perched on the edge of Willow Creek, had been in his family for 3 generations. It was where his father taught him to carve wood, where his mother baked bread that filled the air with warmth, where his sister, Clara, used to dance in the living room until the floorboards creaked. But Clara was gone now, lost to a car accident at 19, and his parents followed not long after, their hearts broken by grief. The house was all Elias had left of them, and he'd be damned if he let it go. The developers, led by a sharp-tongued man named Victor Crane, had been relentless. They wanted the land for a luxury condo complex, part of their plan to turn Willow Creek into a gleaming, soulless hub for the wealthy. Every week, they'd show up with new offers: cash, vacations, even a new house in the suburbs. Each time, Elias said no. At first, they were polite, their smiles tight but professional. But as months passed, their patience wore thin. Victor's last visit was the breaking point. "You're sitting on a gold mine, old man," he sneered, tossing a contract on the table. "Sign it, or we'll find a way to take it." Elias stared him down, his voice steady. "This house isn't yours to take." Victor laughed, a cold, mocking sound that echoed as he left. The others followed, their chuckles fading into the night. Elias wasn't just being sentimental. He had a plan, one he'd kept secret for months. The house wasn't just a home, it was a vault of memories, and beneath its aging foundation lay something more. His father, a carpenter with a knack for secrets, had built a hidden room in the basement, a place Elias only discovered after his parents' death. Inside, he found blueprints, sketches, and a letter in his father's jagged handwriting, for when the world tries to take what's ours. The blueprints detailed a mechanism, a system of levers and pulleys designed to protect the house from being torn down. Elias didn't understand it at first, but as he studied the plans, he realized his father had foreseen a day like this. The house could fight back. He worked in secret, late into the night, his hands calloused from tools he hadn't touched in years. He reinforced the foundation, installed the mechanisms, and tested the system. The house would stand, no matter what came. But Elias knew he couldn't do it alone. That's when he met Lila, a young woman who appeared one rainy afternoon, knocking on his door. She was a journalist, she said, investigating Victor Crane's shady dealings. Her dark eyes sparkled with determination, and her quick wit reminded Elias of Clara. "I heard you're the one holding up Crane's big project," she said, a sly smile tugging at her lips. "Care to tell me why?" Elias hesitated. Trust didn't come easy after years of betrayal and loss. But Lila's persistence wore him down. She wasn't just chasing a story, she'd lost her own home to developers years ago, forced out by tactics not unlike Crane's. She wanted justice, and Elias saw in her a spark of the same fire that burned in him. He showed her the blueprints, explained his plan. Lila's eyes widened, not with disbelief, but with excitement. "You're not just saving a house," she said. "You're saving a legacy." Together, they dug deeper into Crane's operations. Lila uncovered records of coercion, bribes, and forged permits. Crane wasn't just a businessman, he was a predator, preying on small towns like Willow Creek. But there was a twist neither expected. One night, as they pored over documents in the dim light of the kitchen, Lila found a name in Crane's files, Margaret Hale. Elias froze. Margaret was his mother's name, long buried with her memory. The file revealed she'd owned a second plot of land nearby, sold off after her death or so Elias thought. Crane's company had bought it under suspicious circumstances, using a forged signature. The revelation hit Elias like a punch. His mother's legacy wasn't just the house, it was the land itself, stolen by the same man now threatening his home. The discovery changed everything. Elias's plan wasn't just about saving the house anymore, it was about reclaiming what was stolen. He and Lila worked faster, her research fueling his resolve. The mechanism was nearly complete, a marvel of engineering that would lock the house in place, making demolition impossible without destroying the entire site. But Crane was closing in. He'd gotten wind of Lila's digging and sent a warning brick through Elias's window with a note, "Sign or regret it." The final showdown came on a crisp autumn morning. Crane arrived with a bulldozer, a crew, and a court order he claimed gave him the right to seize the property. A crowd gathered, neighbors, reporters, even Lila, who tipped off the local news. Crane smirked, certain of victory. "Last chance, old man," he called. Elias stood on the porch, his hands steady. "You want this house," he said. "Come and get it." He pressed a hidden switch, and the ground rumbled. The crowd gasped as steel beams rose from the earth, locking into place around the house. The mechanism his father designed, perfected by Elias, had turned the house into a fortress. The bulldozer's blade hit the reinforced foundation and stalled, its engine whining. Crane's face twisted in fury, but there was nothing he could do. The house wouldn't budge. Lila stepped forward, holding up her evidence. "You're done, Crane," she said, her voice carrying over the crowd. She handed her findings to a reporter, who broadcast them live. The forged documents, the bribes, the stolen land, it all unraveled. The crowd cheered as Crane stormed off, his empire crumbling. But Elias wasn't done. He turned to the crowd, his voice thick with emotion. "This house isn't just mine," he said. "It's ours. It's every family who's fought to hold on to what matters." In the weeks that followed, the house became a symbol. Lila's story went viral, and people came from miles away to see the unbreakable home. Elias didn't stop with saving the house. With Lila's help, he reclaimed his mother's land and turned it into a community garden, a place for Willow Creek to grow together. He never signed the house over, but he opened its doors, hosting gatherings where neighbors shared stories of their own fights, their own legacies. They laughed when he refused to sign. They didn't know he was building something bigger than a house, a reminder that some things are worth fighting for, no matter the odds. Elias stood on his porch one evening, watching the sunset paint the sky gold. Lila joined him, her notebook tucked away. "You did it," she said softly. He shook his head. "We did it." And in that moment, with the house standing proud behind them, Elias felt his family's presence, Clara's laughter, his mother's warmth, his father's strength. The house wasn't just a home. It was a promise kept.